Right now, on to the point, seeking solutions.
I know what it is to be hungry. I know what it is to sleep on the streets.
What advocates for the homeless and lawmakers want to see happen as the state faces a big budget deficit. Plus, new information tonight. What's next for the World Kitchen hours after their aid workers are killed in the Middle East? Why Governor Newsom is speaking at Tahoe's monthly snowpack survey.
We recognize our responsibility. There's nothing normal about this average year.
And later in the show, the ABC 10 weather team investigates the future of California's water. Why those with senior water rights find themselves defending their water use. But first, breaking news. A standoff is underway in Gold River following a car chase. This is a live look at the scene. The Sacramento County Sheriff's Office says that the driver of the car barricaded themselves in a home near Hollenbeck Way, and this started all around 4:30. Now, we don't know if anyone else is inside the home or who the suspect is at this time, but we will continue to update you as we get new information. And breaking news tonight overseas, a strong earthquake hit Taiwan. The quake is registering anywhere between a magnitude 7.2 and 7.5, and there are reports of buildings collapsing in the eastern part of the country. A tsunami alert has also been issued for parts of Japan, and we will bring you updated information as we get it. Thank you so much for joining us on To The Point. I'm Alex Bell, and we all know when money is tight, people have to cut back on spending, and that also goes for the state of California. Right now, lawmakers and the governor are trying to figure out what to cut. So our Jeannie Nguyen shows us why some Californians are hoping that funding for homeless crisis is not on the chopping block.
I know what it is to be hungry. I know what it is to sleep on the streets.
On the steps of the Capitol Tuesday morning, dozens of people gathered to demand an end to homelessness.
Solutions to homelessness are not something that we can fund only when we have a surplus or only when we feel like it.
A group of advocates and lawmakers called on the legislature to continue to work on finding and funding a solution to end the crisis. With the Legislative Analyst's Office estimating the state deficit at $58 billion this year, this group believes making additional cuts is not an option.
If the legislature is going to cut $1.2 billion, what are you saying to the people that voted you in?
This comes after voters passed Proposition 1, which allows the state to borrow nearly $6.4 billion in bonds, with $2 billion of that meant to create housing. The rest will pay for new facilities for mental health and addiction treatment. Specifics on the rest of the spending will be decided later.
Reversing the cycle of homelessness in California through ongoing funding at scale, not at the bottom.
During Tuesday's snow survey with the Department of Water Resources, Governor Gavin Newsom addressed Proposition 1 and the state's budget.
We'll have a lot to say on that and the budget as we get closer to the state of the state.
But when will the state of the state happen, and what will be cut from the budget? Governor Newsom didn't have much to say.
It's their house, their rules, and I'll abide by them.
All right, and Jeannie's with us right now. Obviously, those advocates wanted their voices to be heard, but Assembly members were also there too. What did they have to say about all this?
Alex, there were Assembly members there today from major cities, and they actually sided with the advocates and those experiencing homelessness. Now, Assembly member Chris Ward did say today that there needs to be a balance in funding shelters and housing, and of course, he will work to make that happen.
All right, Jeannie, thank you so much for the update. And you know, we will continue to follow this. And as Jeannie mentioned, the governor was at today's snow survey in Tahoe. The state says that the snowpack right now is 113% of average for the Tahoe area and above average overall across the state. But Governor Newsom emphasized there is nothing normal about an average year. Today, he announced an update to California's water plan.
Hot's getting a lot hotter, the dry is getting a lot drier, and the wet's getting a lot wetter. And that requires us to have a sophistication of approach that includes new strategies for conveyance, new strategies for stormwater capture, high flow stormwater capture, groundwater replenishment, water recycling, the strategies to make conservation a way of life.
All right, so some of the governor's actions highlighted today include investing nearly $9 billion into community water projects, expanding groundwater recharge and other water supply and storage projects by more than 400 billions with a B gallons, and then environmental restoration, which include the removal of 4 dams from the Klamath River up north. And then the governor's office also emphasized if there was a Delta tunnel, also known as the Delta Conveyance Project, it could have captured enough water to to supply 9.4 million people from this year's storms alone. And California's water is a complicated, multi-layered issue, and it's something our weather team has been diving deeper into for years. So make sure you don't miss their newest series, The Future of California's Water. It's coming up in about 10 minutes, and Chief Meteorologist Monica Woods is explaining the importance and struggles of California's senior water rights. All right, other stories that we're following tonight. A homicide is under investigation in Woodland. A man was shot and killed in a backyard last night, and it happened just off Ashley Avenue. Investigators say the man was around 30 years old, and neighbors are shocked to hear that this happened in their community.
This is one of the most peaceful neighborhoods in Woodland. This is, bar none, one of the oldest and most peaceful neighbors.
Investigators detained one man and tell ABC 10 that they are looking for another person of interest. A large piece of land for sale in downtown Sacramento has a new owner. A Shingle Springs band of Miwok Indians just bought this site at 3rd Street and Capitol Mall, and it's more than 2 acres. The tribe says the purchase honors their past while continuing to build a future. And right now, there are no immediate plans to build on the site. Tonight, Israel's prime minister says that Israel deeply regrets the airstrike that killed aid workers in Gaza, and they were part of a famous aid program. It's a completely tragic case, while calls are still growing for a reduction of violence in the Middle East.
Tonight, the international fallout continues after an Israeli airstrike killed 7 aid workers that worked with Jose Andres' World Central Kitchen. The group was helping in Gaza, which the United Nations has warned is on the brink of famine. Tonight, Secretary of State Antony Blinken says the U.S. has spoken directly to the Israeli government, urging them to conduct a swift investigation.
We've impressed upon the Israelis the absolute imperative of doing more to protect innocent civilian lives, be they Palestinian children, women, and men, or be they aid workers.
Australia's prime minister also speaking out, saying he expects full accountability for the deaths.
This is a human tragedy that should never have occurred, that is completely unacceptable.
The 7 aid workers killed were from Australia, Poland, Palestine, the UK, and a dual citizen of the US and Canada. Video of the aftermath shows the vehicle clearly marked with the World Central Kitchen logo on the sides and roof of the van. World Central Kitchen saying despite coordinating movements with the IDF, the convoy was hit, going on to say that they are now pausing operations immediately in the region. This is happening as Iran is vowing revenge after an airstrike in Syria killed 2 of its top commanders and 5 officers. Iran and Syria blame Israel for the attack. The Iran ambassador to Syria saying such crimes and violating international law will have its response in an appropriate time.
And more details are coming out tonight about the aid workers that were killed. Several of them have helped in countries, during aftermaths of war, earthquakes, and wildfires all around the world. So we'll continue to follow this. All right, a big traffic mess. So what's next for the Central Coast after Highway 1 falls into the ocean?
And time is of essence, especially as another weather system starts to approach. More rain, snow, and colder weather on the way.
And later in the show, the ABC 10 weather team investigates the future of California's water, why those with senior water rights find themselves defending their water use. Welcome back. We are getting new video tonight overseas in Taiwan. As we mentioned at the top of the show, a strong earthquake hit Taiwan, and the quake is registering anywhere between a magnitude 7.2 and 7.5. There are reports of buildings collapsing in the eastern part of the country, and a tsunami alert has also been issued for parts of Japan. We will continue to bring the newest information as we get it in. And traffic troubles continue in Big Sur after a chunk of Highway 1 fell into the ocean over the weekend. Incoming rain is canceling convoys that are helping to get people out of the area. And more than 1,600 people were stranded in Big Sur over the weekend until a single lane opened on Sunday night. The collapse is about 17 miles south of Monterey. So if you plan to visit, make sure that you're planning ahead if you're going to that area.
I don't know if I'd want to use that one lane that was open.
I didn't want to say it, but I was thinking it. Yeah, when you see that, that's, yeah.
Wow. A perilous drop for sure. All right, rain and snow is on the way, and that's why they were really trying to move ahead of this weather system. Rain showers already starting to pop up right along the Pacific Northwest coast. This all slides our way with much cooler air. 70s were nice while we had it. That's where we topped out once again for today in the valley. 60s for the foothills, near 60 up top for this year. We're soon expecting areas of snow to move in. We've been on that upward climb here. Average high 69 degrees. Over the weekend, we sat relatively cool over the Easter holiday, and then we got the sunshine, that big ridge of high pressure, dry and warming weather, and we reached 75 today for Sacramento Executive. Tonight is still a beautiful evening. Watch out for the mosquitoes, though. They are out in full force with the dry conditions and temperatures that are very mild. Low pressure system is on the move, though. That's what's going to swing our way with it. The colder weather. We've got a winter weather advisory in play tomorrow evening that takes us through Friday evening. Some of the bigger impacts that we're going to be tracking, along with the timing along Highway 108. For 88 and 89, we'll see the biggest snow impacts, but the snow line also dropping to near 2,000 feet. This all gets going for tomorrow. It's our big transition day. As you can see, more cloud cover moving through during the day. Snow will start up during the evening, and that's where that winter weather advisory goes into place. Now, Thursday morning's commute, a few showers there off the west side of the valley, some spotty snow showers, but much bigger rain bands moving through on Thursday into Friday, where that snow line starts to drop. Roughly about 1 to 20 inches of snow expected for this year. And in terms of rainfall, about a half an inch or so throughout the valley, closer to about an inch of rain mixed with snow for the foothills. Our 10-day forecast includes a slight chance of thunderstorms Wednesday and Thursday. Scattered showers on Friday, dry but cool over the weekend.
All right, Monica, thank you. Next, on To the Point, the future of California's water. The ABC 10 weather team investigates what's being done to prepare for the future and why those with senior water rights find themselves defending their water use. Welcome back. All this week, the ABC 10 weather team is joining us right here at 6:30 for their newest investigation called The Future of California's Water. And tonight, in part 2 of our series, Chief Meteorologist Monica Woods and the team digs into senior water rights, what it means for our food and access to water for people in rural areas.
Tens of millions of people rely on California's water that's also helped to feed the world.
But the truth is, we are all one pie chart. I mean, we all have to utilize each other.
The rights for using California's water are complicated.
They used rubber cement, and over years, the labels have fallen off.
Tracking who gets what is antiquated.
The system has not been kept up to the complexities that we face in this kind of modern era.
As our climate changes, what can California do about its water?
We do not get to dip a straw in the ocean and just suck out what we want.
And what's already being done.
Water is life, right? We all need it every day. You need to keep the taps flowing no matter what.
This is the future of California's water, an ABC 10 weather investigation.
This valley, these cities, this county would not exist without this river.
Mitchell Yorksa is a 5th-generation farmer in Colusa County, just north of Sacramento. His family grows 15 different crops, from watermelon to tomatoes.
Our tomatoes go to the largest cannery in the world here that creates much of the tomato paste for both California and the United States, much of it being specifically for Heinz. So if you buy a bottle of Heinz ketchup, more than likely a portion of it is ours.
To get this to our tables, they need water. The Yorksa family has what is called senior water rights, which in theory gives them unlimited access to water flowing down the Sacramento River. An incredibly divisive topic for how it shapes California water access today and the way the system was set up, largely stripping water access from Native Americans.
It really starts with the gold rush. Same way that people would come out here and stake a claim to land to mine, they would stake a claim to water.
That could happen in a couple of ways. If you own land next to a river, you get access. Also, if you claimed the land first, you got senior water rights. If you claimed it last, you got junior water rights. More than 100 years later, access to water today boils down to those rights.
And the way that it works is that if there's not enough water to go around, the most junior water right holders can't exercise their right. They can't take water until the most senior water right holders have used everything that they need. And so having a senior water right is incredibly powerful.
But those rights and unlimited access come at a price to farmers like Mitchell Yorksa.
I think there's this perception that exists that ag is just taking this water without any thought on where it goes or how it's used. But at the end of the day, We have to pay for every bit of the water we use, the labor we use, every part of the system, so we're only using what we need.
On average, the Yerxa family says they use about 20 to 30% of the water they have access to.
It's just like any other resource you use in your own day-to-day life. You're not going to run your kitchen sink or your bathtub or your shower unless you're utilizing those resources.
Over 90% of farms in California are still family-owned, each generation facing more pressure to put food on America's table using the same soil, same roads, and even similar crops, all with less water. To face those shortages, they are turning to more efficient irrigation like drip tape and recycling.
Any water we don't use is used by the next field to our west. So each field is picking up tailwater and utilizing it for the next crop.
But even with the best intentions, there's just not enough water to serve California, even though the state declared water as a basic human right. In 2012, Governor Brown signed a law declaring that every person in the state must have access to clean, safe, and affordable drinking water. Yet today, there are still over 1 million people that are exposed to illegal contaminants in their water.
So we have two sources of water. We have groundwater, we have surface water. In order for us to access surface water, we have to have water rights. Many of our communities don't have those rights to access surface water.
So instead, they must resort to water that is stored underground. In many of these rural communities like Seville and Tulare County, that water contains high levels of toxins from leaky septic tanks, agricultural runoff, and animal manure.
So this is where we need to make sure that we have better infrastructure delivering water.
So that
this is their pipeline going, it's right, this is an ag ditch, and that's their pipeline.
To their water.
Yes.
That drainage water seeping into the nearby water supply for the community and school.
Susanna says one of the ways to address these concerns is to connect two smaller communities like Seville and Yedem to a safer and more secure water supply.
All of the infrastructure in Seville will be replaced, and also connect the community of Yedem and including the school so that they have a proper water distribution system with hopefully good wells providing safe drinking water. We're not there yet, but we're getting closer.
Susanna says the bottom line, this crisis exists because of poor water planning and lack of funding to develop solutions.
The question here is not who's at fault. The question is who's working towards a solution. These are farm worker communities. We work with the ag industry. We're part of that fabric. So we need to find solutions where we all win.
But the truth is, we are all one pie chart. I mean, we all have to utilize each other. I mean, we are the ones growing the food. You're the ones buying the food. We can't exist without you, and you can't exist without us. So we have to work together.
A lot to unpack there.
It certainly is, I know.
Yes, but clearly the farming community, I mean, they feel pressure to, defend their water use. But how did tensions build to this degree?
Well, every drought cycle, this battle grows. We are a state of feast or famine. Last year, we had too much water and it was sent out to the Golden Gate. 2 years ago, though, we were in the grips of deep drought. Either way, farmers still have to pull water from rivers and the ground to put food on our table, which leaves some people without access to safe drinking water. That's why you heard both Susanna and Mitchell saying we have to work together.
Now, after seeing that, is there funding for these projects to help connect communities to safe drinking water?
Yeah, the good news is that in 2019, the state passed the Safe and Affordable Drinking Water Fund through Senate Bill 200, which provides $130 million a year to develop sustainable solutions like what you heard Susanna talking about to connect those two communities so that smaller systems have access to safe drinking water.
All right, Monica, and this is not the end. Make sure you join us tomorrow for part 3 of this series. Meteorologist Rob Carlmark is looking at desalination in the state, where it's being used, and what it could look like in the future. We're back after this. Welcome back. We are getting new video tonight overseas in Taiwan. As we mentioned at the top of the show, a strong earthquake hit Taiwan, and the quake is registering anywhere between a magnitude 7.2 and 7.5. There are reports of buildings collapsing in the eastern part of the country, and a tsunami alert has also been issued for parts of Japan. We will have the latest on the conditions in Taiwan coming up tonight, on Late News tonight at 11. And before we go, coming up later this week on To The Point, an Olympic rower from Folsom is heading to the Summer Games in July, the Olympic Summer Games. This is the second trip to the Olympics for Michelle Sexer. She went to Tokyo Olympics in 2021, and right now she's really busy training in Florida. But today we caught up with her proud mom who's getting ready to visit her daughter on the East Coast. So we'll have her story coming up a little bit later this week right here at 6:30 on To The Point. And that is our show tonight. Thank you so much for inviting us into your homes. We love telling your stories and we love getting to meet you. So if there is something you think we should be looking into, make sure you reach out to me and the team. Remember, strangers are people we just haven't gotten a chance to meet yet. So take a little bit of time to get to know someone. Have a great night, and I will see you tomorrow. Hey, it's Alex. I just wanted to say thank you so much for watching. The To The Point team and I love hearing from you, and I hope that you'll stay in touch. And don't forget, you can always email me and the team at tothepoint@abc10.com, or you can even send us a text message at 916-321-3310.